Yeah, we did two headliners down in Genova and Cremona as well, and we played Angela Azzurro in Genova, and in Cremona it was Midian, which is one of the old Transylvania bars. Pretty cool, like very medieval kind of looking stuff. It was really really fun, and good nights. Definitely, it was our first time actually getting to Italy after two records, and our labels down there as well too. So it was good, to get those guys out and have everything kind of happen like that. So we had a lot of fun. It was a good warm up for us as well to come into this tour, and we played tonight in Lyon and had a great time, man. Definitely. It's a bit of it's a bit strange because actually we had some people, and it happened here again tonight too, where you have people coming from other countries to the shows. We had some English folks actually make it down to Italy. We didn't know, that they were actually even in the crowd. It was like, oh, well, there you go. And they came down to see the show just out of interest because they knew that we were playing and they happened to be able to make it. It's like, wow, okay, great. Tonight we had people from. Actually, people that had seen me from about 5 years ago playing with Forbidden in Chile. On actually one in particular, this one guy remembered a festival that we played called the Metal Fest back in 2012, and that was actually the last show that Forbidden ended up playing ever. Well, at least for now. But yeah, so that was weird. It was like you had someone coming up from Chile, and then also there were some folks that came down from Sweden tonight as well too. And it's like, wow, so everyone's kind of making it out to these shows, and it's more and more becoming an international thing. So it's really cool. They want to come see the band, and they want to come see us play when they can, and that's kind of what it's turning into. I think is basically that type of thing. It's been a good ride with Scarlet. This is our second record with them, the Final Call, and we're very happy with the record. And the main thing for us, I was just talking to Filippo about this last night as well too, is that we just need to be out there and we need to be out playing as much as possible. And it's as much as we can find, we're going to get out there and do. That's our goal always. Yeah. Astronomically different. Yeah, absolutely. Sadly, I thought we had the right kind of the right frontman with Miko. I thought he delivered great on that record, on the very first record, Distortion of Lies and the Overdriven Truth. But people didn't really see it that way. So it was like, well, but he basically stepped down for family reasons and such, and we ended up finding Chris. Uh, Almost on a fluke. He was a guitar student of Jamie, our other guitarist, and it happened to be that he moved over to vocals and was training as a vocalist. And Jamie heard him and was like, "Wow, this dude's amazing. You got to check him out." I'm like, "All right, I don't know, dude, but I'll check him out." So checked him out, and we brought him over to jam. It was like, "Wow, amazing. He could sing our stuff, great." And he's really grown into a great frontman as well too. And I'm really glad that we took a chance and have brought him on. And from 2014 to 2016 now, the difference is huge. Definitely in what we've done. We were able to do the Final Call record as well too together and do it in a live atmosphere, which was great. Absolutely, it was one of those things that there's a magic there that you just can't get any other way, and that's how we play it live as well too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it's long story short, because I tend to blab. It's been great to have him on board, and more to the future. I've been very conscious to try to not play that card, so to speak, because it's in this day and age, it's kind of useless I don't mean useless as in my entire history, my 20 years of doing this is useless. Not by any means. It's been a useful purpose. I mean, it's gotten me around. It's gotten me to be able to be known to people, to have their respect, to be able to issue music, and hopefully they like it. If they like it, great. Then they stay with me. If they don't, then they move on and they find something else. So in that respect, it's been really, really great. But I wanted to build a band together with everybody, and you can't do that if you've always got something hanging over it, you know, like it's this guy. Regardless, on the other side of that coin, people are always going to do that because it's the stuff that I've done. It's my history, and I don't regret a minute of it. Definitely not. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of fun, man. We made some great metal with a lot of great guys out there in all those bands that I was a part of, and that's what we're doing with these guys, but in a bit of a different thing, because I was always kind of working with other bands and with other people, and this is kind of my thing, and it's my way of being able to kind of work it out with other people, not necessarily telling them what to do, but letting them grow into it and give what's really them to the entire sound. So it's a bit of subtlety, I guess, but yeah, you know, I mean, it's teamwork mainly. That's the big thing. It's working together to really make that cohesion as a band, and we are a band, absolutely. It is, yeah, because basically the band is now largely based in England, the south of England, and we're all over it. Chris is from Bristol, Jamie's in Swindon, I'm in London. We've got Matt, our drummer, who's down in Brighton, and then Stefano, our bass player, is over near, well, he's in Ashford, he's near Dover. So we're all over. I mean, collectively, if you put us together, we're the entire south of England, from far west to far east. It's weird. in the south, southwest to southeast. So getting together is actually easier. It does take a little time down the roadway, but, you know, it's nothing. We get together and we make it happen and pull it together. So in that respect, we're all on the same continent. We're able to work together. We're able to talk and get things done a lot easier. The record wasn't made with Matt, but it was made with Mickey Sana from Coma. And very good drummer, very solid, but I guess the personality differences kind of came up a little bit, and it was a little bit of that. So he's moved on, and we've gotten Matt in the band, and it's been not really a look back, you know, since. It's been a very good fit. Matt came from biomechanical with Jamie, and it's one of those things, you know, where you've got a cohesion with two guys. They know what to do, and we read each other quite well. We're all we've all kind of got this old school influence about us. We love the old school metal, and that's you know, that's our core. For me, I'm a bit older than those guys, just a little, but you know, we all share that same influence. I mean, Overkill, on down to everybody, man. It's every we could talk metal for days, you know, about everything, but we've also got that in tune kind of feeling about new stuff as well too, and it's what shapes the whole of one machine and makes our sound, and that's the thing. I mean, all of us together, Stefano and especially Chris as well too, we're all on the same page when it comes to that, and that's why I think it's working better, much better than the first record, which was a bit more kind of an email kind of thing. I mean, we did get together. You know, we flew guys out and you know, got everything happening with that. But it wasn't really the easiest thing to do. It took a few years to make that record, to make the Distortion of Lies and the Overdriven Truth. So that was the real difference. This one came together so fast. It was just, bam, there it is. You can't do anything different with it. There was no way to write that thing different. It was just the way it was. And we ended up finishing it together, and that was the best thing. Yeah. It's about to get a bit more Killfest, I think. You know, like what Overkill has done in the recent past, where they had bands like God Forbid out with them. Oh man, who else toured on those tours? There were some really crazy cool ones. Like Soilwork was out with them, Darkane. It's some pretty heavy stuff, and then they're coming out. And on this tour, they've got a lot of classics that they're pulling out. So to my mind, I was thinking, well, this actually fits because I kind of had heard that was what they're going to do, and I was thinking, well, we had the offer on, and we're like, yeah, we'll do it definitely because I think the old stuff that they've done fits really well with what we're doing in terms of the classic sound and the more modern stuff that they've done as well too. Also, I think we tend to kind of hopefully complement to their fans as well with our sound. So hopefully we're winning over some people along the way. We hope anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Like us.
Yes. Please. Not really. No. It was one of those things that just didn't really kind of head in that direction. We actually did try some things. I helped those guys demo a lot of songs. In fact, somebody, I think it was Matt, put on the other day in the van here. He put on the second record, Dark Roots of Earth, I think is what it's called. I haven't really listened to those records, but when I did, a friend of mine turned me onto it. They're like, hey, check this out. So they put it on, they're playing it, Formation of Damnation, and I helped Eric work out at least 5 or 6 of those songs in advance, and with Bo Staff as well, too. When he was there, we were jamming together. They had a nice little studio with a cool recording setup and everything. Like they virtually moved Driftwood Studios, what it is now, out of basically the Antioch area in California, and we worked on that stuff. We did some drum arrangements, some second guitar parts that Alex ended up keeping. Which I was honored by. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Nice. And Paul kept a couple of the fills too. I was like, yeah, well, okay. I guess they liked it, so that was good. And then just now, this new one, what was it? It wasn't Dark Roots of Earth, but it was, oh, if I knew it again, I would hear it, man. There was 2 or 3 of those songs that certain parts of it was like, oh wait, we worked on that. We worked on that one too. So some of those things kind of come back a little bit, and yeah, I remembered immediately when I heard it. I was like, oh, it was like being back in Sacramento at Eric's house working on a drum machine and jamming with him and working that stuff out. Not to say that I wrote that. I didn't. He wrote it, but we just kind of helped shape it with him a little bit. So, yeah, good memories. No regrets about that. I mean, it's a chemistry thing. We did 2, in my opinion, fine records with DRAGONLORD. His side band we basically helped form that together, and I co-wrote some songs on that, and wrote 1 or 2 songs as well, and had a good time with that. Definitely, it's a bit of a different thing. It wasn't Testament by any means, but it was one of those things that was a good thing to explore. The heavier side and the darker side of things, and kind of get that side of the appeal of that whole thing kind of came across a lot, and yeah, it was good, man. It was fun. Uh, by default, I stayed with DRAGONLORD for another year, but it was never the intention to, like, okay, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop that off. But the thing is when I joined Nevermore, I was already touring with those guys since 2002. So what happened was basically they ended up finishing their contract out with Century Media. They were going to re-sign with somebody. They had a lot of offers on the table. They were bringing me into this as a permanent member. That was the offer, and there's a lot of things happening with that. Big money deal, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Lots of touring, etc. And we basically helped plan that entire tour as far as where things were going to go. Because I knew the markets through touring with Testament where Nevermore was primarily big, but they'd never been, and it was weird that they'd never been there. It was like, why haven't you ever been to Poland, Czech Republic, any of those places, to Japan? It was strange to me because they were very well known. and it's just one of those things that needed to be known and done. South America was another area. It was like, wow. And then they went there, and now they've, well, broken up, but they've been able to build a career there, definitely, which is good. So it's one of those things that just kind of happened along the way, towards doing that. Yeah. I lost where we were completely, man. I get blabbing and I don't stop, but. Well, yeah, everyone's asking about the status of Forbidden. All I could say is I had a great ride with those guys, and I would say never. If they called me back, maybe after this tour, I might consider. But it's one of those things that I think it's got to be those guys, and they have to want to do it. Most importantly. If they're not all on the same page, then it's not going to happen, and it shows. So yeah, it's sleeping. Let's put it that way. As for the record, I thought it was fun. It was an absolute blast to do that. A lot of that stuff happened in terms of an inspiration. That's kind of where my real inspiration for taking One Machine to more of a live atmosphere kind of was born from, because we did a lot of jamming in their studio, which was like a garage type of thing, and a lot of the riffs just kind of came out that way. It's like, here's this one, here's that one, here's this one, and those things kind of bounce back and forth, and you start jamming, and all of a sudden, like, half a day or 12 hours goes by, and you're still jamming and having fun and developing those riffs, and they turn into songs, from there. And that was the cool thing. I got to write a lot of riffs by accident. Some of these things happened, like Swine, the intro, and the first half of that song kind of came from me just by accident. Craig looked at me, he's like, "What's that?" Because I was just noodling on a drop D tuning, and it just kind of came about. It was kind of a play on a Randy Rhoads riff, and it just happened. And Forsaken at the Gates was one of those other ones as well too, and we just kind of fleshed it right there and worked it out. And then the rest of those, they started working on stuff together with him and Russ, and built it into the songs, and that's how it should be. That's the band at its core is those guys with Matt, and wouldn't be any other way. Actually, a physical contribution. Me and Jeff were speaking by email, and me and Larry speak pretty frequently, a lot. He keeps asking me to come out and tour with those guys, and I'm like, well, if we can work it out, then we work it out. But they've got a lineup that they're happy with and everything, so that's where it is. But it just kind of came about, and Jeff asked, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually in California. I'm in town, and let's make it happen." So we did, and that was cool. I went down to oh God, I want to get his name right. Juan Urtiaga. Sorry, Juan.
Juan.
Yes,
yeah.
Juan.
Trident Studio, yeah.
Urtiaga, yeah, exactly, yeah. So we went down to Juan's studio and laid down the track there. Spent a good couple hours just hanging out and listening to the album. Then got a vibe and listened back to the track and went at it and laid it down. It was fun, man. It was kind of coming back a little bit, definitely. And it was fun. Yeah, I teach. I teach guitar. I teach privately. I do Skype lessons, or basically internet lessons. I do in-person lessons in London town itself. I've got a few different locations across London that I go to. And I'm also a teacher at basically university level stuff as well too. I've been doing that for the last nearly 10 years there over in England. Various parts of it, largely southeast, southwest kind of stuff happening there. And it's all different stuff, but they always call me for the rock. So rock and metal, I always get the calls for those, and then I've developed a couple of like programs based around metal. I did one at a place called the Institute, or ICMP, I think is what it's called now in London, which they might still be running, but it's more of a historical perspective type of thing, where they learn kind of the origins of metal up into present day, and it's being constantly updated. And it's a very fun thing. It's very interactive. It's hands-on. It's one of those things where you come into a room, you got like 10, 15 people all willing and wanting to learn metal and get up there and dial in a tone and jam. So it's fun. We have a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff. I give master classes all over. Basically largely Europe and the States nowadays. But I get calls for that as well. Session work. Here and there, I've kind of not done as much in the recent past, but this one with Vicious Rumors was like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, definitely. It's kind of not that I would say it's more me being selective, I think, nowadays about what I want to do. So it's one of those, yeah, as opposed to for the money kind of thing. It's got to be something I like. If I'm not into it, I'm not going to do it. So. But yeah, that's what I do. It's music, 24/7, always in my head until the day I die, man. Definitely, yeah. Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why I came here, because I knew that the respect factor is much different here. People love metal and they don't drop it for the latest new shiny thing. You know what I mean? There's a love and respect for everything from the very day to now, of course, but there's also an understanding of the lineage and a respect for it as well, too. People don't abandon something as they do in the States, and it's not, it's kind of changing now. It is because of I think the fall of the machine, so to speak. I mean, the record labels don't really have that kind of power over metal anymore as they used to, and it's more of a choice of what they want to actually check out, as opposed to being spoon-fed stuff. I mean, there still is a fair amount of that in the larger label, the major label kind of stuff. But really, I mean, if you think about it, there's only three left, three big ones, and slowly they're grabbing all the younger, smaller labels, little by little. But it's less of a spoon-feeding thing, and people are still going for what they know and what they like, and that's good. So you still have that kind of bubbling under, but I think largely the mainstream kind of thing just still eats it. Absolutely. So it's one of those things where being over here, there's still a respect. I can go out and play to people and have them show up and like it and love it. Hopefully love it. And with this kind of thing, being that it's a new band with One Machine, still, we're on our second record, but it's still young, and we do have time to grow. The more that we're out there, I think the more that people will kind of see the lineage and see that type of thing, what we're trying to do with it, to meld the respect of history and to bring it forward and push it into something new always, and kind of stretch it a little bit. I'd just like to thank all of the French fans. Thank you very much, merci beaucoup, for your support for us. It's been a long time coming that we've been able to come here, and we hope to return many, many more times on this record and beyond as well too. Thank you so much.